doing?
Yo.
Welcome back to Leather Helmet Fandom Podcast. Today you'll be joined by myself, as always, K.O. Consman, and
Josh Consman.
We're just going to jump right into it. We're on week 6 of the NFL, week 6 of sports betting, week 6 of fantasy, whatever you do with football. We're on to week 6.
NFL.
Week 5 was a great week for me, I believe for Josh as well. So
great week all around.
us as a podcast in general, very positive. So we love that. Hopefully we can bring it into week 2. If we want to just touch base real fast, I went plus 16 and like a quarter units. Josh, what did you go?
I went plus 13.35.
So that being said, obviously I took the dub for week 5 of sports bet.
Just because of the parlay.
Yeah, mainly because my parlay hit. So if my parlay did not hit, he probably would have won. So it is what it is. Obviously, I think the second we said that this is my parlay, which I didn't really think about until we started the podcast. I was like, oh, yeah, I basically have to go like 100% on my props. And it fucking hit. So it is what it is. Obviously, I had a good week. So, Josh, you want to get right into the sprindle?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can go right into
spinning wheel, baby.
Punishment wheel. Let's just get it going.
Luckily, I don't got to do it this week.
I didn't think I'd honestly ever had to spin this, but
did you add it?
Yeah. We got Def Chip on there.
So we got a Def Chip that I bought from Wawa. Hopefully, he spins right on it.
From Wawa? That sounds even worse.
They're pretty cheap. They're usually more expensive online, but we'll see.
What do we got?
Read it so you can tell me what it is.
Oh, I got an easy one.
What is it?
Beer chug.
Oh, what the fuck? You got the good one.
I got the easy. I got cake work.
You know, Dave's going to come out your neck if you don't chug faster.
Oh, I already know. I don't. Is it me or bottles are harder, or this shit's just... Yeah, I'm not the best with chugging.
Maybe just don't like Corona.
Not really. Tastes like piss when you chug it.
All right, so anyway, while he's doing that chug, like we were talking about, we had a great week 5, so hopefully we have another great week in week 6 of sports betting. I believe...
Fuck me.
I believe the whole, as a whole, what would you call it?
Like
not the sports bet. What would you call it?
Are you talking about overall?
Like you have sports bet people, like you have Vegas, and you have the bettors, whatever. Public, there we go. The public won last week, I heard. They completely destroyed the books. So great for you guys, great for us. Let's have another great week 6.
So far on the career, just to be transparent with you guys, I'm at plus 31.5 units. Caleb's still in the negative 17, but he's coming back. I mean, he went plus 16 this week. So total for last week, we were just under 30 units, which is almost borderline unbelievable. But yeah, I hope to keep it rolling. Anything you want to go over from last week that like just kind of...
Not really. I don't really remember much. Oh, I know that I had to place a bet on Harris going on his over, I think it was, and
Najee?
Because of the spin I got.
Oh, you had to take an under.
Or because I lost or something.
You had to take the under of one of your fantasy starters.
He went over by a shit ton. Obviously, that did not do well for me, which made my record even worse. It could have been 17 plus 17 units.
Yeah.
But I just think it's some BS that the one time I take is under, he goes over. It is what it is.
He was under receiving hit though. Woo! That's why I don't chug.
I don't really remember, but I don't.
Wow,
I don't think
good.
there's anything else that really stood out to me as far as fantasy.
I mean, I had 2 on the hook. I had Elijah Mitchell go for 62 receiving rushing yards. I had him under 61.5, and then I had Zach Moss over 37.5, and he hit 37. So I'm like, yeah, buddy.
I believe my lock hit, right? What was my lock?
Yeah, both our locks hit. I'm pretty sure.
So my lock was
week. Kyler Murray under 285, just like I thought, and I had the under for that game also. Damn. The 49ers just held it down and kept the game close and low scoring, which is what I was anticipating. Wow, this might be worse.
Better not throw up.
No, I'm good.
On my mic. Want to get that wheel out of the way?
Yeah. We can get it out.
I told you last week though. I was like, if I don't lose my lock, I go positive. And the 1 week that I
didn't
don't
you
lose
hit your
my
lock
lock
early?
No, I lost both weeks. I've lost.
I mean,
my
like
locks,
your
and then
lock
this is my
last week, I could have sworn it hit early.
No.
Maybe I was wrong.
That was the last one. Seahawks. That's what it was. He threw over or under his
completions. Yeah, you hit it Thursday night.
What's his name got hurt? Russell.
Yeah,
Russell Wilson got
but he
hurt
wasn't going to hit it regardless.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that was a really good bet.
Want to jump over Thursday? This Thursday's week 5 or week 6 Thursdays that already passed.
I mean, I just had a bet on the game because we both went there, but honestly, every time I bet on the Eagles, I fucking lose. They're the reason I lost my parlay last week because of Devontae Smith. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, they're playing the best rush defense. Let me take Miles Sanders' longest rush under 11.5. It looked good till the fourth quarter, and then the fourth quarter, the Eagles decide to run the ball when they're down like 2 scores. Who figured that? So he went off for a couple of big runs.
That was only 1 unit though, right?
1.5. Yeah, so I'm negative 1.5 to start the week off, but I got confidence in myself. It's coming back positive like I always do.
So I love going big. You guys know me. Every Monday and every Thursday game, it's just what I like to do. If I have a bad week, then I hit it hard Monday. If I want to go into the week hard, then I hit it hard Thursday. I only did 4 units in total betting as far as Thursday game goes, but I did Chris Godwin over 70.5 yards.
That didn't hit,
under.
Right? I was about to say.
I did under
70.5
yards at minus 115, 1 unit. That hit. Sherlock, the only person that did good was my next bet, Antonio Brown, over 64.5. I think he had like 90-something yards, 96 yards, something like that at minus 115, 1 unit. That hit. And then the other 2 obviously took an L. Bucks, I got hit on the hook. I had at minus 6.5.
A lot of people did.
They lost by 6, or they won by 6 at minus 110 for 1 unit. That's a loss. And then I had Sanders over 25.5 receiving yards. I felt pretty confident going into it that he would be able to get like more receiving work, but I think the man got like 1 target, possibly 2. So that was just a really bad bet. That was at minus 110, 1 unit as well. So I went 2 for 2. 2 for 4 on the night. So
yeah.
I believe I'm in the negative by like a half. Same.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how many units you put for each.
1 unit all each.
Oh, for all of them? Then yeah, you're a little bit
like
negative.
Half, a little bit more.
Not a lot.
So
at all.
It's not a bad way to start. I could have went positive if Bucks didn't screw me and hit me on the hook with a fucking minus 6. Plus, we all know that the Eagles were getting destroyed, and for whatever reason they let them down.
28-7, the Bucks, and they didn't score again. And I think that was like
early. Was it 28-7?
It was 28-7 at one point. That's what I'm saying. Like they didn't score again. Even
because then they got a touchdown. We're like, all right, we'll stay here.
On 4th down, the Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are they doing?
The middle of the field, that was a dumb play.
I'm like, why wouldn't you just kick the field goal? They were close enough. I'm like, whatever.
Either way, obviously, all they care about is the win. They don't care if we cover, if the Vegas covers. All they give a shit about is
they were about
winning.
to lose because of that. It was, I don't know. Not a great decision.
All right, well, that's Thursday. Let's jump right into my favorites. As always, props. Actually, what's the least you have of over-unders, spreads, and props?
Over-unders, I got 1. Spreads, I got 2. And props,
All right, let's do over-unders real fast then, because I only got 1, too. My first over-under is 42.5. I got it over Seahawks, Steelers.
Okay.
I think that Seahawks can get enough points to get like 20, possibly like 17 points total, but I think it's going to be like garbage time. They don't have their starting quarterback. They don't have their starting running back. Their defense is complete hot ass. Steelers offense should easily be able to move down the field on them. Najee Harris should easily be able to run all over them. So I'm going to just assume, and I'm going to try to do this every week, take the lowest over-under and just do the over on the lowest over-under and ride it until I feel comfortable or ride it until it loses. This one I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to start it this week since I did it last week with the Patriots versus Texans game. It was at like 39.5. Went over on that. I'm going to go over on Steelers versus Seahawks because I believe Seahawks, regardless if it's Geno Smith starting or not, I think he can do enough in garbage time to make them go over. Also, I could see Steelers scoring like 30 points to them just alone themselves.
Do you think they would like... Because most of the Steelers' defense is back now, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like a healthy Steelers defense.
they'd really let up garbage time points. Like I feel like they're one of the teams that like.
They definitely could lock it down, but it's not even garbage time. It's just more or less like big plays they let up. So like you're like, let's say if it's not garbage time, let's say they're up like 14-0, and then like they're like, oh yeah, we got like a convincing lead, and then going to half they let up some huge play and it goes 14-7. Like just stupid plays like that they always let up. But obviously not starting running back, not starting quarterback, it kind of hurts them, especially since their Seahawks defense is ass. But like I said, I'm basically betting this off of Steelers getting 30 alone, and all Seahawks got to do is get like 12.
2 touchdowns.
I mean, 13.
Yeah, so
14,
2 touchdowns
something like that.
much.
Yeah, which I think they could easily do. So that's my over-under. What's yours?
So I got the Vikings and Panthers game. I got the over at 45.5. I just think the Vikings defense, I mean, it is coming around, but it's still mediocre, and they let up points left and right. I think the Panthers defense is still mediocre. It's not as great as was first thought, just because they're actually starting to play
good teams,
a little bit decent offensive lines. So I think it's going to be a close game, and close games, like I said before, are always indicative of usually having an over, just because the teams are pushing for that last score or touchdown. So I think both teams should get close to the 20s, if not both in the 20s. So it'll be very close if it doesn't hit, but I think it's a safe floor for teams that both have really good weapons on each side.
Christian's not back. If Christian McCaffrey was back,
but honestly, like, their receivers on both sides might be like, I don't want to say top 5, but like maybe like top 10 duos.
Right. And Moore's not going to have what he had last week or whatever 2 weeks ago when he was going up against Slay and just got held like crazy. So
no, he did. DJ did more. Did good, except for last week, the week that just passed.
2 weeks ago.
No, 2 weeks ago he did good.
No, he played Slay and he got held. I took his under.
I mean, you might have took his under 80, but he had like
it was
a
like
good
70
fantasy.
something.
Yeah, okay, it's a good game. Oh, I held him
compared
under
to what
80
he's
yards.
usually getting. He's getting like over 100 almost every game. So either way, I know what you mean. Receiving,
but I just think it should be a more lean towards a higher scoring game.
And I believe both of us are at 1 unit.
Yeah, I think it's a lot lower. Yeah, 1 unit for that. I think it's a lot lower. Not a lot lower, but lower in the 40s, just because the last couple previous games, which is something to take advantage of, because the Vikings have an uncharacteristic down game versus the Lions. It was like 16-17. And the Panthers had a couple down games between the Eagles and somebody else they played. But usually their games go into the 30s. So that's what I expect, at least 50 or over. But 1 unit on that, I'm confident in it.
All right. Well, since we're already around that same area, let's just jump to spreads. I'm going to go with my first one. I got at Bills -4.5 at -110 for the odds. I'm putting 2 units on this one.
It's a trap.
I don't really know why they're getting 4.5. It might be a trap. But the way the Bills have been playing, I don't know how they lost week 1 versus Steelers.
Yeah,
but
nobody does.
They're just completely like dominating teams, and they've played decent teams and they played ass teams. Like they've been proving it week after week that they're like the top 3 team easily, maybe the top 1.
Their defense just looks so much better than I thought it would.
They do. And who are they even playing? I forget.
They're playing the Tennessee Titans. I think maybe one of the top reasons why they're not getting so many points is because they're away.
I look at Titans and I'll look at them till they, probably not till the day I die, but until Henry is left that field, the second you stop the run, I think you can easily destroy the Titans.
They're supposed to be getting back A.J. Brown and
I don't
Julio,
care. That's the thing.
Julio.
I don't care. Those 2 package deals are great for that team if the running game can get starting. If you stop the running game early, that team always crumbles like a motherfucker, and I just can't see it happening. It's the same reason they lost to the Colts, I believe, 2 years ago. I think it was the Colts. That's the same reason they lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs, because they held Derrick Henry to like 40 yards, 30 yards. Like, if you hold Derrick Henry, which this Bills defense, like we were just talking about, I think you can easily beat this team. And it's not like Bills or anything to blink by as far as offense goes. We all know they can just march down the field and destroy you too. So it's not just their defense, it's their defense and offense. 4.5. I mean, obviously you got to win by a touchdown then at that point, basically. I mean, it could go a little bit differently, but I'm going to easily take that at 2 units. What's one of your spreads?
So I'm pretty much just saying fuck the spread, and we're going to go right to Chargers money line just because I love the Chargers in this matchup. They're playing the Ravens this week, so I'm taking Chargers money line at plus 125, 2 units on that. The Ravens just barely, I feel like they're getting hyped up. I mean, he had a great game. It was a good comeback, but like the Ravens just barely beat the Lions, and they barely beat the Colts. Both those teams, one's 0-5, and
Colts
one's
are 1-4.
1-4.
Now
like,
1-5.
They're not the best coached teams. They're not the best teams. Like, they have talent, and I'm not going to deny, like, Jackson has shown that he can throw and whatnot. I just don't think the scheme is going to work versus a Chargers team that is obviously very, very well coached on offense. The Ravens defense has been like super inconsistent, doesn't have that.
I think that's why they're giving them so much, like they're giving them like +3 spread for the Chargers. So I think it's strictly because their defense looked like ass like the past 2 weeks. But
You're talking about the Chargers?
yeah.
Yeah, but
you're taking money
the
line and you're
Chargers
getting plus money.
Play like their secondary, although it gives up yardage, like is super, super safe as far as not giving up big plays. They shut down tight ends. Like Andrews is going to have one of his worst games ever, as long as James doesn't come to the field at all, and he's fine. I mean, he dislocated his shoulder and came back on after one drive versus the Chiefs. And I just don't like how the Ravens are using their running backs. Like, they have some of the best running backs, and they're not giving them any opportunity. And if you think Lamar, just because the Chargers have a bad rush defense, is going to get 150 yards rushing, it's not going to happen.
Not a chance.
And I just don't think the Ravens can keep up with the Chargers. Like, the Chargers offense with their new offensive coordinator from the Saints is like, it's elite. Like, top 3, if not.
They look like the Chiefs
1.
of when they won the Super Bowl. That's what they look like. You just can't stop them.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little unfortunate that I think Mike Williams will be out, but honestly, I don't think who is
I didn't even know he wasn't going to be out.
I mean, he's questionable, but he's always hurt. This is like his best year without injuries, honestly. But Keenan Allen will still step up. They have a rookie that's just as big as Mike Williams, and Josh Palmer, I think his name is. So
he's expected to play.
And they have Jared Cook.
Mike Williams expected to play.
Yeah. So even if he comes out of the game early, like, he'll at least have some impact. And I just really like the Chargers this year. So if they're ever in the positive game script, I would take them at money line. Have any other spreads this week or no?
Yeah, I got one more. I got
same as me.
Cowboys -3.5 at -112. I'm putting 2 units on that one as well. So both my spreads, I got 2 units. I don't know what's up with this week as far as like these amazing teams getting these shit like spreads. Maybe it's some kind of like trap because you have Buffalo Bills. I mean, now Buffalo Bills are at -5.5, and I took them at 4.5. So you're not going to get it at 4.5. But that's why I got to jump on it early, check the lines early. But Cowboys is steady, been at -3.5. I think they went up to
2.5 at one point.
They went up to 4. When I first took it, it was at 3.5. Then they went up to 4. Now it's going back. So I don't know why these great teams are getting disrespected. Same thing with the Chargers. They're getting +3. Like, are you kidding me, dude? The Ravens don't look that good if you watch game script. So I'm going to take Cowboys -3.5, 112, 2 units. I'm just locking it in. Everyone knows why. Great defense this year, or turnaround defense, and their defense has been looking outstanding. Maybe defensive player of the year in the corner, Trayvon Diggs. And then also you have an elite offense. I know Elliott is questionable, but I think it's going to happen. Also, this game should be raining. So if you want to take the under on that, look into it. I'm not going to take it, but look into it. It's going to be raining. So if you look at it as Cowboys versus Patriots, who can run the ball better, I think it's easily Cowboys. You have 2 great running backs in the backfield and a pretty decent offensive line. But obviously Patriots defense has been okay this year, maybe a little bit above okay, I would say. But I think they're going to easily be able to run all over them. And Dak and his elite weapons too can catch the ball in rain regardless.
Yeah.
So I'm going to easily take Cowboys -3.5.
Yeah. So I took the same team, but a different strategy. So I put a little bit less units, but I want to take the better odds. So I took Cowboys -6.5 alternate line at +140, and I'm putting 1 unit on that. All for the same reasons. And honestly,
6.5, you said, or 6?
-6.5. So I really think they should win by a touchdown, if not more than one touchdown. So I'm putting 1 unit on that. And the Patriots just came off just barely beating the Texans. And their first game without Stephon Gilmore, they gave up over 300 yards.
He hasn't been in all season. What do you mean?
No, he just got traded. This is his first game without Gilmore.
No, I'm pretty sure he hasn't been playing, bro.
I mean, maybe not because of injury. No, he definitely, I'm pretty sure, played
I'm pretty sure he didn't play at all.
Well, regardless,
right now,
the man's not there to coach up his team.
Yeah,
his
their
defensive team.
defense isn't as. Yeah, see,
Is he on the pup?
Yeah, he's been on pub. He's been injured this whole offseason.
Whatever. He's not there. That's what matters.
Yeah, they're not the same. He's
but
he used to be
I think
down.
the Patriots defense isn't as good as we thought. I mean, they just gave up to a rookie QB in Daniel Mills from the Texans, over 300 yards. So I think the Cowboys will just have a field day with them, and they've been having a field day with a lot better teams.
I think the disrespect comes from when they played the Bucks. That's simply all it is. Because they played, who they played last week? Texans.
You're talking about the Patriots? Yeah.
Yeah, they played Texans last week. Okay, I don't care if you hold Texans to a low-scoring game, and then they played Bucks and they held them to a low-scoring game. Okay, that's the Bucks. Like, this is Cowboys. This is a different offense, in my eyes at least.
I mean, it was impressive they hold the Bucks, but like,
yeah, but it's also like
it's just because the whole Brady thing. Yeah. So it was a little hard to
also
guess that game.
Is this at?
It's got to be at.
Yeah, it's at New England.
Yeah, that's why. But regardless, they should blow them out and make a statement for like why they might be a very good playoff contender, which they will be. I don't wish them the best, but I do like some of their players.
All right, you want to jump into props?
Yep. Yeah,
my favorites. I'm gonna start off with one of my fantasy players, dude that was looking like some hot ass in the beginning of the year, but obviously has been stepping up. Mark Andrews on the Ravens versus
Darwin James. I don't know. You know what?
Yeah.
Chance to take it out.
Mark Andrews, I'm gonna take the over 63.5 yards at -115 for the odds and at 1 unit for the money. So I just love the way that he just has been getting uptake over and over, week by week, as far as targets and as far as receptions go. As far as yardage, he finally got his first touchdown, which included 2 touchdowns in the same game last week. So I just think with Bateman coming back, they're going to be able to open the field more. Hopefully they use their running backs a little bit more so they can start getting like just more versatile. Like you're so easy to read, and the fact that like people can't read it is just unbelievable. Like this dude he actually is going to hand the football off to the running back, whatever one's in the backfield, and then just never gives it to them, and just like that's not an RPO. Then it's stupid. All you're doing is just taking the ball and running it or throwing it. You never give it to your running back. So I just think it's going to help a lot with Bateman spreading open the field as far as him being there, especially if he gets like a target right off the bat and catches the target and looks nice. Then everyone's like, all right, we got to respect this dude. He's a big dude in general, so maybe what's his name will go off to Derwin James. I doubt it, but he'll probably be a Mark Andrews. Either way, Mark Andrews is a big boy, a lot bigger than Kelsey. I feel like, at least thickness-wise, maybe not like tallness and shit like that.
Got some girth.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the 63.5. He looked great last week. I think that's pretty low for him, but might not hit, might hit. We'll see. I guess your Derwin James thing will either be proven or not be proven.
I mean, it was clearly proven.
Who did he play last week?
That's a good question. Look it up while I run over my first one. So my first one, I got Hunter Renfrow of the Raiders under 19.5 for his longest reception. I got it at -120. I got 1.5 units on it.
Wait, who is this?
Hunter Renfrow.
I can't bet on that dude.
So betting under 19.5. honestly, Hunter is having one of his best years, but he's still primarily almost like 100% used as a slot receiver, and in hook routes. So
Yeah, I would agree.
the Broncos secondary is actually pretty good and young, but they play like very soft to minimize big plays. So I know Renfro almost never, like 95% of his targets are under 20 yards. The only reason he gets to 20 plus yard receptions is because of the yards after catch. But I'm really just riding this, even though I think Renfro will be one of the least impacted because he seems like a really straight-headed guy who just focuses on the game. But with all the drama, I think it's going to mess up the coaching and the play calling with losing John Gruden. So I'm really riding that even if he does get 7 targets, it's just going to be a bunch of dink and dimes, maybe like a 50, 60-yard game from him, nothing big.
If he is just dinking and dunking, it's definitely the only highest risk is him just breaking one free.
Yeah, but he's definitely a yards after. The only way he's getting this is yards after catch.
But they're playing
he doesn't
Broncos, which has been good defense.
Yeah, it's been a good defense too, and he's the last deep target on the team. Like Ruggs is over him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Edwards is over him. Waller's over him.
There could be an entire game where Waller just gets almost every single target or every single look, and then they just run the rest.
And I think Edwards is getting more targets, so he's taking away just like 1 or 2 from Renfro here and there.
Real fast to talk on your Derwin James thing. Njoku
of the Browns.
I don't know if he guarded him, but he got 149 yards.
Okay, so that's some good.
And Peoples-Jones got 70 yards. So
all in the same game?
All in the same game.
You're talking about almost a 100-point game, bro.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? I can see that happening again in this game. Probably not.
We'll see.
We'll see. It could be some garbage time. Like we said, we think the Chargers are easily going to be able to beat the Ravens. So
yeah,
it could be some garbage time to just checking it down, trying to get first down over and over and over. Easily could go over 63. But my next prop bet, another tight end on my other fantasy, Tyler Higbee. Over 36.5 yards this time. He is not playing Derwin James, and he is at minus 115 for the spread.
Are the Rams play this week?
1 unit. Rams play. It's a tough question. You're gonna have to ask yourself that and then look it up.
To the search.
Week 6.
I want to say
the Rams play.
It's not an easy matchup, I think.
Why can't I see it? The Rams play Giants. It is an easy matchup.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
And Barkley's out. I don't know if their quarterback starting. Is it?
Jones starting? I think he was still in question. So I think he's supposed to start. But
either way, I think he'll go over. I know they obviously have talent all around with even their running back. What's his name? Anderson? Not Anderson. Is it Anderson?
Who are you talking about?
Rams running back?
Rams running back? Henderson.
That's what it is.
Next prop.
Henderson has been looking phenomenal this year. Obviously, you have Kupp, and then you have Woods, and then you have one of the other players, I forget his name, but then you have Higbee on the tight end. I can just easily see him getting like 4 or 5 targets this game. So just make 10 yards each one. You're clearing it. But I can easily see him break away with a longer one than 10. So I'm going to take Tyler Higbee over 36.5 yards, minus 115 at 1 unit. What's your next one?
So I'm going to double down. I got 2 props for the Rams game.
Okay.
I got Henderson under 17.5 rush attempts at negative 135. I got 2 units on this. Pretty confident in it. He hasn't hit this all year, and over his 3-year career, he's only hit it once.
How much is it, rush attempts?
17.5, so he's got to get 18.
Okay. That's pretty high.
Michelle has gradually been gaining in his usage.
That too.
He's pretty much at like the 35% snap split between him and Henderson. So Henderson's getting about 65%. But I think he was coming off, I think 2 weeks ago, he had a really costly fumble for the team. So he was put in the dog box and just really not given much work, even though he deserves it because he's running really well this year. But obviously Henderson's going to be the pass down back because Michelle's not really a specialty in that. But fortunately for me, the prop leans only towards his rush attempts. And like I said, he hasn't hit it this year, and he's hit it once in his 3-year career. So
we got to get some stats bets on here. I didn't really look into stats that much this week, but just going off of feel, so it's a good stat bet if he's never hit it. So
yeah. I mean, he's definitely trending towards this many rush attempts, which is why they probably have it that high. But I just think he's not really that much of a workhorse.
No, definitely not.
Robert Woods is my next prop for the same game. I got him under 22.5 for the longest reception. I'm just putting the fire out on this guy. I mean, he had an unbelievable game, but I think his usage will come back down to what he usually should get target-wise, between 5 to 8. He's still primarily the slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really the deep target on the team like Jefferson, Jackson, and Kupp are.
I forgot Jackson. That's what I meant.
Yeah. So like less than 8% of his targets are over 20 yards. It's kind of very similar to the Renfro bet. Like he's a yards after catch kind of guy to get long receptions. And the Giants have been struggling, so I can see him being able to break away a little bit easier because the defense is a little weaker. But they'd still have decent cornerbacks between Bradbury and Jackson. I mean, they're not the best, but they're capable of holding down just an okay smaller receiver. But that's 2 I got for the Rams game. Robert Woods is 1 unit. Henderson, 2 units.
Also, this is also coming off of a Kupp lover, so obviously you love Kupp.
Oh, yeah.
So I think you're just
I mean,
also
it's pretty obvious
that
Stafford loves Kupp.
But then the last week's game, I was like, why is this dude getting targeted over and over? I was like,
what, Woods?
Yeah, I was like, is Kupp a name love? Like, I took
because
it
he's
over
whining.
or something.
It's literally like an OBJ situation. Like,
bro, Woods does not whine. He does not look like a whiner. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, he was whining to the press conferences, like, I'm not getting enough targets.
Well, now you know why he's whining, because this man can go off if he gets it.
Yeah, if Kupp got that many targets, he probably would have had 250 yards.
I mean, yeah, but you still got to spread you got to spread the love. You can't just be predictable. Be like, oh, Kupp. Once Kupp gets to like a Slay or
Kupp is a
Hayden or
better yards after catch guy than Woods is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say yeah. I just think
Sling.
What's his name's more reliable as far as getting open.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm not taking. I think Woods could have another great game, like 80 yards, but I don't think he's going to have a long reception.
Yeah, I understand. All right, moving on to my next prop. It's my second to last one. Najee Harris. I'm taking his over. Last time I took his under. It is boosted out the ass. If you can find it somewhere lower, then take it. But I'm just going to take it because I feel like he's going to have a great game. I feel like Steelers are going to easily control this game. They'll be able to run the ball a lot more than they usually do. Their offensive line looked great. Not great last week, but great as compared to what they looked like in the past week. And they're playing the Seahawks, which we all know the backup is in, and running back and their quarterback. So Najee Harris over 70.5 rushing yards. Last time I took his under like 50 something, and he went well over that at minus 140. They got this thing at minus 140 to go.
So he only hit that once this year.
Right,
over 70, which was last week.
I just think this is the only game that I feel like they could win this game easily, which is wild because they've won twice. And I just, every single week I go in, I'm like, Steelers aren't going to win this week. Steelers aren't going to win this week. This is the only time I feel confident that the Steelers can easily win this week. The defense is healthy. Offense is healthy besides Juju. He's out for the year. But we have enough people to fill him in and to play around him. So I think they're easily going to control this game. But the thing I hate the most about this bet, which is probably what might steer you guys away, it's at minus 140. So since it's at minus 140, I'm taking at 2 units.
His touchdown anytime is, if it's that low too.
I'm definitely in the minus, but not minus like 130, 140. But either way, I'm going to take it at 2 units since it's at minus 140. Try to get some better money out of it. Obviously, I'm spending more, but it is what it is. Got to make more. So hopefully it goes over. It is a high over. I haven't seen 70 off a rusher in a long time. Maybe like Derrick Henry's rushing over.
Anytime's negative 150, so it's even worse.
Yeah, it's just all this stuff is boosted. I think they really think this game's just going to be like Steelers control it throughout the whole time, which it could be. But it's my man Harris. I have him in my fantasy. I think he's gonna be able to do it. Like you said, he's only gonna have one game, but this is the best situation possible for him to go over. So I'm gonna take it 2 units minus 140. Want to do a couple of years since you have a few more?
I'll do 2 more. So I got Khalif Raymond under 41.5 receiving yards at negative 115. I got 1 units on this.
Who is this dude?
You might be asking who's that, as Caleb just did. But he is a 28-year-old wide receiver vet on the Lions. I still think he's actually a decent receiver if you watch him in his games. Not that anybody, including myself, knew him until I started watching the Lions a little bit more.
Surprised they even have the odds on him.
Yeah, I guess just because he's literally been putting up yards consistently. He's been averaging about like in the 30s and averaging like 5 targets a game.
So you're going to his under?
Yeah. So the reason for that is because St. Brown, the rookie, just started getting more and more target share and having a better presence as far as getting targets. And I think they'll continue to try to feed their, I think he was a 2nd-round draft pick, if not first, wide receiver. And Hawkinson has been having down games, so I think he will get more involved and he'll bounce back. So I really just see, and if you have been watching the games, even though Raymond's getting the targets, and it looks like at the end of the game, oh, he must have had a decent game. But when you watch the games, like this man's getting hit in like super garbage time. Like,
is he wide open too?
For the most
like
part,
a new name, like I don't give a fuck about this dude.
Yeah,
I could see that.
But he has good hands, so that's the only thing that worries me is he almost always catches. Like he's at like a high 60% catch rate. But I just like him to have a down game because of everybody else. They're trying to focus on really making this team a rebuild and getting their young players the ball versus a 28-year-old guy that is going to be gone in a year or two. Like, there's no reason to really push for having him.
It's like half middle of the pack defense too.
And they play Bengals, which is mediocre, but I think the Bengals will be able to put enough pass rush on Goff that it'll stay slightly low-scoring game also.
So
they don't have to bomb it all the time. What's up?
They're also home too, so that's another good thing on their side. But
yeah. So my next one I got, this is probably going to be against everybody's fantasy hype on Kareem Hunt, but I got Kareem Hunt under 87.5 rushing yards.
He is going in questionable, so
it has nothing to do with injury either. Like if he's completely healthy, it doesn't change my mind. So negative 115 odds. I got 1.5 units on this. I think the Cardinals, as far as like game script will go, will focus a lot on trying to shut down the run game and just cram in the box as much as possible because they all know that the Browns have one of the best rushing attacks versus their passing attack is questionable. It's not awful, but it's not great. But just to get some stats out there, Hunt last year with a 4-game stretch without Chubb.
Didn't play that well.
He never went over 76 yards, and he had an average of 62 yards. So he had more carries and less yards per carry. I really think as Hunt gets older, not saying he's old, I still think he's in his borderline prime or just coming out of it. But I think part of why the Browns' run game is so good is because they have fresh legs nonstop. Like their transitioning and relationship between Chubb and Hunt is so good that they feed off each other and they come in feeling perfectly fine and not worn out. So I think Hunt's borderline a workhorse if he needs to be, but in reality he's better as a complement, almost like an Eckler kind of workload. Like he doesn't get all of it, but he gets enough that he's...
But Eckler's looking like he needs all the workload.
Yeah, but as soon as you give him all the workload,
this year he's had all the workload. What are you talking about?
I'm just telling you, it's fresh legs are always better as long as it reflects the player, and it obviously reflects Kareem Hunt as a player on the Browns because he's done better yards per carry. And it's not just a couple games. Like he does this consistently when Chubb's not in.
So I just looked up something real fast just because I'm starting in my fantasy and I'm hoping he's going to have a good game.
I don't think he's going to have an awful game.
But I did know about that thing, him playing bad when Chubb was out. But he also played Indianapolis Colts and Steelers defense, which last year they were like
it was week
2 of the top 3 worst defenses.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, which was Colts and Pittsburgh. He had 72 yards in Colts, 40 yards on Pittsburgh.
Okay.
But then versus Bengals, he has 76 yards, and then Raiders versus 66 yards.
Yeah.
So
we're
it wasn't
about almost 90 yards.
It wasn't elite, but yeah. But who's he playing this
up.
week? Arizona. That's another good defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he can hit it. It's just I think this line
boosted. It's
should
boosted.
be in the 70s, not in the 80s.
That is definitely boosted. And it's a high 80s too.
I think Najee should have a better rushing game, and he's
the reason
70.
I'm doing this though is because Baker fucking sucks. I'll say it year after year after year. This dude cannot play good unless he has an elite running game like he does.
Oh yeah,
they look like hot ass when they're gone. Hot ass.
But I mean, that's another reason why I don't love taking the Browns this game.
Oh yeah, no.
I think they're a better team and should win, but I don't like either team in this game or matchup to pick because it could go swing one way or the other.
Well, that's great because might be speaking about one of my bets, but we'll see.
Do you want to finish up your prop?
Yeah. So my last prop is DJ Moore over 79.5 yards. I took his under, I think, 2 weeks ago versus Eagles, and I love just taking unders versus wide receivers that are going up against great cornerbacks, just same ways.
Are you taking that under?
Last 2 weeks ago when he went against Slay, I took his under. Same thing when you take tight ends unders for Derwin James.
Yeah.
I always just look at the wide receiver that always popping off, and then he finally has to go up against a good cornerback, and then he usually goes under. So this time he's not going against anyone special. I forget who they're going against, but I'm going to take his overs.
We just talked about it. They play the
short-term memory, obviously.
Over. Panthers versus the Vikings.
Okay, Vikings, like you were saying, they've been inconsistent. They've improved since last year, but not much. They're not. He won't have a tough matchup, to say the least. And he's been popping off. He's been looking great. 79.5 yards. I'll take it. -113. I'll put 1 unit on it, and just gonna move on. That's my last prop. Got any more?
Yeah, I got 2 more. So I got Latavius Murray. Over 43.5 rush yards at -120. I got 1 units on this. He's obviously shown that he's the lead back. They don't trust Murray or Williams. What's his Tyson
Williams.
I already forgetting his name. I miss that man. Tyson Williams. They obviously don't trust him much.
Never started.
Expect Latavius Murray to get more work. I guess against one of the worst rush defenses. I mean, people think coaches don't realize, but they're looking at a lot of the same stats we're looking at. Like, oh, we're playing a sucky rush defense. Let's run the ball some more. And I think they're really going to try to change the scheme up because they might be hyped.
Hand it off more. If he doesn't, it's just
I know, but that's
so
what I mean.
annoying.
Like, I just can't see it being Jackson the whole game. Like, they don't want to lose, and they keep almost losing.
His over-under for rushing is pretty low this week, too. It's like 60 or something.
Yeah.
So
I think they expect this to happen, and they're just not sure how or where to put Murray at because he is averaging less than this because he's not getting that many carries.
Second they get in red zone,
6-8 carries.
Second he gets in red zone, it's Murray.
Yeah, and I think they're just gonna lean on him, and I actually like Murray as a running back.
Yeah,
so I just see him easily breaking one. It only takes 1 10, 15-yard run, and he's going to easily hit that. Yeah.
Right.
And then my last one, I'm going to ride an under on a rookie in Khalil Herbert, the rookie running back from the Bears, who's going to get his first full start, even though some people could argue that he got it last week since he outsnapped Damian Williams. A lot of people didn't realize that. He had 18 rush attempts. But he did look pretty good. He went for 75 yards last week. So averaging just over or a high 3 yards per carry. But if you look at the rookie's college games and career, he was never a pass catcher in college. So I think they're not going to give one because he's a rookie and they don't trust him completely. So they're not going to give him the full workhorse every down back. So you will see some no-name come in on third down or just switch it up between second and thirds. Not to say he won't get a lot of rush attempts, but I think his targets are going to be limited to like 2 at the most, and those targets are all going to be screen passes, like 100%. They're not going to have him running routes when they know that's what he didn't do in college. He doesn't have as good of hands. I mean, you can go look up his highlights. You're not going to see catching like at all in college. So I really like under 9.5 for his longest reception. I don't think that's where he'll get his first down plays. I got that at 1 unit, and that's my last prop of the week.
All right. So in total, I basically got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I only got 6 units on props, and then I think I got most of my props on spreads, or most of my units on spreads and overs. But we're going to lock last, right?
What do you want to go to your parlay?
We'll do a parlay. So my parlay, I'm gonna take same game parlay this week of the Chargers versus Ravens. For some reason I feel like this game's gonna be handled by the Chargers, but I feel like it's gonna be a high scoring game because we know how the Chargers defense has been looking recently, and when Rashad Bateman back, I think not back but finally playing. I think it's going to look like a little bit of a different offense, maybe more passing, maybe more, like you said, handing it off to actual running backs, not a fucking QB that is impersonating as a running back, if that's how you say that word. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's right.
But either way, I'm going to start with a parlay, same game. Chargers minus 1.5. I think the Chargers are easily going to be handling this. And then the second leg is over 52.5 total points. Like I said, I think this is going to be 2 below middle of the pack defenses. I don't think Ravens defense has been much, especially since they lost their one corner. So I'm going to take over 52.5. I also can see easily Ravens have proven it. They can come back and make an actual game, being down a lot. So 52.5 over. Third leg is Eckler anytime TD. We all know what Eckler's been doing this year. We all know they like to give him the ball through the air and in the run game. So no matter how their play is going to happen, he's most likely going to be on the field in the red zone. So his chances of getting a touchdown are very high. I believe he's at like minus 1 something.
Yeah.
And easily the top odds person for getting an anytime touchdown. So I'm going to take Eckler. That's an easy one to hit. But then I'm also going to take Latavius Murray. You're just talking about him. Anytime touchdown score. I also think, just like I said, he gets handed the ball. Not handed the ball, but he's always on the red zone plays. He's always in there. We all know he's a decent back, maybe even above decent. He did red zone work for Saints, and he would take away some touchdowns from Kamara. Always gets in there. Like I said, he runs hard. He always can break tackles. So anytime touchdown score, 2 dudes, both running backs that will get the time in the red zone area. So hopefully they both get it. If they both get it, I'm seeing the Chargers winning, and then all they have to do is go over 52.5 points. Hopefully it happens. I think that would be the one that doesn't hit out of all of them, or one of the running backs. I won't even say one. I really think Eckler's going to get a touchdown, but if Murray doesn't get a touchdown because stupid Ravens don't know how to run the ball with a running back. So get that all together. It's at plus 1,193. And I'll take that at 1 unit, and that's my parlay of the week. Same game parlay. What's your parlay?
So I'm just pretty much stacking 4 of my props together.
Okay.
So I got Khalif Raymond under 41.5 receiving yards, Kareem Hunt under 87.5 rushing yards, Latavius Murray over 43.5 rushing yards, and Khalil Herbert under 9.5 longest reception. So put those 4 together, and we got an odds of 1,074. So dropping 1 unit on that parlay.
With that being said, I mean, you got Murray going over. I'd imagine that one of those overs will probably be in the red zone. So hopefully it's a touchdown. Helps me.
Yeah.
And then
I really like, for your same game, I mean, you don't have it in yours, but I think Keenan Allen's a really good option this week for touchdown. And he probably has a lot.
See, I thought the same thing too, but then that's why when you brought up Mike Williams, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's playing. Like, I heard the thing, but then I was like, and regardless if he plays or not, we even seen it we even seen him play when he was hurt. He the dude just gets targeted in the red zone, and it's annoying. So does Keenan Allen, though. We all know that. But I just don't like receivers in a same game parlay to get it unless it's like a tight end that I know always gets past, like Mark Andrews or something, when he hasn't had a touchdown in 4 weeks or some bullshit like that. Like he's
I think it's
bound
more of a
to get
gut,
one.
honestly, feeling.
Yeah, it could
This
happen.
week. I'm just like, oh, Keenan's getting it.
It's either my list would go Eckler, Keenan Allen. That's how my list would go with Chargers.
Yeah.
So he's my second guess, but I'm going to take Eckler as the sure pick, and then Murray as the sure pick, and then just do the over and the spread on it. But what's your plus for that?
I got 1,074.
Okay, so yours is a little bit lower than mine, but
yeah,
realistically, you're gonna be making some good chunk of change if you take that parlay with us.
If I hit, that means 4 of my props hit too. Psh, call it a week.
And last week my lock hit and my parlay hit, so never know, you might want to ride with it. What?
So my parlay didn't even hit, and it still was a sick week.
I had a good week. I looked back at it. I was just like, I had a pretty good week, even like how many bets I placed and how many bets I won. But for whatever reason, the lock's what really put me over. So I guess I just didn't bet a lot. Let's jump into the last thing, the thing you guys want to know most about, the thing you need to follow the most. And we're going to flip my luck around. I'm obviously 1 and 2. Is that how you'd say it? 1 for 3. 1 for 3 on locks.
We did every week, right?
Yeah, we're on week 4.
We're on week 6 now.
Yeah, but we didn't start right away.
Oh, we didn't do week 1?
No, I don't think so.
You're probably right.
But either way, I'm pretty sure 1 win in my lock, 2 losses on my lock. We're going to make this even this week. My lock this week, Josh said he doesn't really like it because there's no other games going to go. I'm going to do Cardinals at -1. I think it's disrespect that you're giving them +3. Complete disrespect.
I gotcha.
Or I think they might even be at like +2 now or +3.5. I forget what the line's at now. Either way, they're not getting it. The Browns are getting it.
They're getting +3.5.
Okay, they're getting +3.5 now. So I'm going to take them at -1, which is basically just money line, 5 units. And I'm going to lock that in. I just think the Cardinals are being disrespected. They're the only undefeated team. Their defense looks great. Their offense looks great. Obviously, Murray is a little bit banged up, but I think he can do justice. Also, Edmonds was questionable or out. I forget which one it was. So that leaves my man Connor. My man Connor has been looking great this year. Changed his number to 6, and all he's been doing is getting 6, 6, 6, 6 every single week. So look for that to continue to happen. And then plus, I think, who else was questionable? I think it was
on the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think it was another wide receiver.
Just a note: Zach Ertz cannot play.
Yeah, that would be baller if he could, but getting to watch him live
top for fantasy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't even know how they would run that, but
I mean, I guess they would have to just run it.
Yeah. So basically, I'm gonna lock it in. Cardinals -1. Watch them win 5 units. It's a little bit risky, but we're gonna take it
when they win by 1.
When who wins by 1?
The Cardinals, and your bet gets pushed.
If it gets pushed, then fuck it, right? I'm not losing 5 units.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I just took the -1 because I was like, it's basically money line.
Is, +5, so it's 150 for money line and 155 for -1.
All right, we'll take that +5, and then if not, we'll push it, and we won't go negative. That's at least get my lockout. But I'm gonna go 2 for 2. After this week, you watch. Cardinals are gonna take that spread -1.
Usually, like when I do,
don't disrespect the birds, the real birds.
What I like to do if I'm gonna take it's not always the best, but if I'm taking a spread, I'll usually jump up to -2.5. But I know on DraftKings alone, they won't even give you that option.
Oh yeah, no.
That's
real fast. What is the Cardinals -1? I didn't write it down for some reason.
+155.
+155 too, and I'm getting the 5 units on that boy. Let's hit it. Let's get it.
Hit.
If not, and they win by 1 somehow, and then we'll just count it as split, and I'm not going to lose anything. And if they just don't hit that, then it is.
Ready to hear the real lock?
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
You might want to tail
it. Are you 4 for 4 or 3 for 3?
I think I'm 3 and 1. I missed 1 lock. I'm almost 100% certain.
We've only done 3. I know for a fact because I've only spun that wheel twice. I spun the wheel twice.
We didn't have the wheel at first episode, remember? Like, how could we? Because there was no loss.
Then maybe I hit my lock the first week.
I think
I've never hit a lock.
Yeah,
I hit it last week.
Yeah.
That was my only time.
I think you're 1-3 and I'm 3-1.
Okay.
So I think it was 2 weeks ago I didn't hit
Let's make it 4-1. Let's make it a good week.
Yeah. I feel really good about this one. So I'm gonna go with the only thing I'm pretty sure it's only, unless my knowledge on all the sports books is a little off, but teasers I believe are only on FanDuel. So a teaser is pretty much allows you to add points or take off points from the initial spread, and you can parlay those together. So what I have is a teaser of plus 4.5 points. Now, I got it at plus 4.5 for these games, but whatever you needed to do to add enough points so the Chargers leg of this parlay is 7.5 is what you need to do. So if your teaser needs to be plus 5 to get Chargers, so I'll just tell you right now, like the Chargers are at, what's their spread at?
Plus 3, you said, right?
Chargers. So the Chargers went down. They were better, but they're at plus 2.5 now. So to get them at plus 7.5, you're gonna have to add a teaser of plus 5. So I got it at plus 4.5. You're gonna have to do a teaser plus 5. Now, your odds are probably gonna be not as great. So I got it at plus 200. You'll probably get the plus 170s. But this is a great bet to hit for a positive that high. Anyways, getting to the actual bet. So you want the Chiefs at negative 2.5, the Chargers at plus 7.5, and the Cowboys at plus 0.5. So parlay them all together, and you should get in the at least plus 100s. I got plus 200, and I'm dropping 8 units on this one. I just think the Chargers, I'm really confident in them. I'm really confident in the Chiefs this week, and I'm really confident in the Cowboys.
I think your biggest thing is the Cowboys one. I think the Chiefs are easily going to be covering 2.5. I think it'll be 3 easily plus. But the Cowboys one, obviously, we think the Cowboys are going to win too. But
versus the Patriots, yeah,
it's possible, but very low. So I like it plus 8 at plus 200. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
You're talking a 16-unit profit right there.
That's pretty damn good. I might have to take that myself.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's the odds are going to be as good as when I got it, but like I said, it's still worth it at anything positive. Like, those are very confident games I feel about. But
so, real fast, before we end this podcast out.
Or did you put another one out?
I placed 2 before the week started. I am going to be posting on our social medias. I'll have Josh post it on Twitter. I don't really know how he's going to track it, but I'm going to post it on Instagram, and that's going to be the main one on the story. All you got to do is view it, doing it every single week, just trying to spread the love and give some money off if we hit a 8-leg parlay. So this week's parlay is going to be Chargers plus 3. They're getting disrespected to the Ravens. Green Bay Packers minus 4.5. I don't think Bears are much to even blink their eyes. Honestly, Fields didn't even have that good of a game last week, and people were overhyping it. Bengals minus 3.5. Lions been keeping games close, but I think they're not going to be able to keep this one close. And they have Higgins back now, and I believe everything is just full fire, all cylinders.
Full fire.
All cylinders firing. There we go.
There we go.
And then Chiefs minus 6.5 is the only one I don't really like that much.
I like it.
But I think they're going to have a good game with how much disrespect they're getting and just how bad they've been looking. So minus 6.5 with the Washington football team. And then Cardinals, another disrespected team, getting plus 2.5 versus the Browns. I think they're easily going to be able to cover that. I'm placing my lock on them winning the game alone. Then you got Dallas Cowboys at minus 4. Another disrespect versus the Patriots. They dropped it down to minus 3.5 for whatever reason. I thought minus 4 was already too low. It should have been at like minus 5, minus 6. So the fact that they dropped it down even lower, wish I could have got it 3.5, but it is what it is. Minus 4 versus Patriots. Steelers minus 4.5. I didn't like it at first, but now after the week's been going on and everyone's injury reports been coming out, I like minus 4.5 versus Seahawks with Steelers. And then I got Buffalo Bills minus 4.5, another disrespected team getting disrespected.
They're overhyped.
We'll see. If they beat Titans, people are still going to be like,
they're not going to murder them.
People are still going to be like, Yeah.
People
Well,
think this is like the lock of the century when it came out. They're like,
oh no, definitely not a lock of the century.
They only got 4.5.
But the thing is, I think they'll be able to cover the 4.5. So if that all hits, we'll be looking at another like 175. Possibly, I'll just drop the 200 on you guys, and I'll just take the rest. So all you gotta do, remember, is view it. The second you view it, that's all it is. You're in it. You're in it. And if I win it, then you get it. So we're spreading the love, trying to get some money out here. If it hits big, then it hits big. If it doesn't, we move on to next week. And hopefully one of these hit. If one of these hit throughout the whole year, that would be great. If none of them hit, then that's obviously sucks. Maybe we'll have to change something up next year. But that's all I got for this week. You got anything else, Josh, you want to include?
No, that wraps it up for me.
All right, sounds good. We hope you guys have a great week. Take something from this. Honestly, I love Josh's lock. Hopefully, ride my hot hand from last week, and hopefully we just both end up positive.
Come back with a plus 40.
Plus 40 week.
Sheesh.
That would be some crazy ass
plus
shit.
30 last week.
Yeah, so let's try to hit it this week. Give you guys some money. If you guys aren't following us, please follow us on all social medias. Leather Helmet Fandom. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that shit. Just go ahead and follow it and subscribe. Thanks. Peace.